Hello and welcome to Ketter Farms. We're back with another episode of Oklahoma. Today we're going to be doing a few different jobs. We have to wrap up spraying the fertilizer on our cotton fields. We had put down most of the nitrogen that the crops needed during the planting cycle here, or prior to the planting cycle, but we're going to top them off here now that they're a couple stages into the growth process, allowing them to continue to grow up into healthy plants. And then I believe we're going to be all done with the field work we have over the summer here and ready to advance into harvest. And so we're going to top off this fertilizer here and jump out into the fields and do a little bit of spraying. We have done quite a bit of spraying in this series over the last episode, and so we'll probably see what we can do to speed that up. I'm really looking forward to getting into our cotton harvest here soon. So without further ado, let's run out here to the end of our field. I do want to make sure everything is working appropriately with precision farming here. We shouldn't have any problems at this stage, and we'll finally be able to use the automatic application right here to get everything to the appropriate levels. I think we are going to take a headland pass off here on this field first, just to give us some space to turn around. And it looks like everything's working. It's going to shut off here in a few areas where we this was our testing area, and so we had over applied in a few spots on this particular headland when we were getting everything set up originally. And if we turn this off for just a second, I'm making sure we do have the automatic application rate turned on with the sprayer. This grass area provides us with plenty of area to turn around here. And so we're going to come up here and start working on our long rows. It looks like we're putting down just the slightest amount here. If we turn on our mini map, you can see we are getting the nitrogen level up one stage here to where it needs to be. If we open up our F1 menu, we can see down here at the bottom where the flag is for cotton in this soil type. And so we're doing a pretty good job here getting everything finalized. So this is going to go really quick, and we're not going to use that much fertilizer here to finish things off. We might even have enough in the tank to complete this job altogether. So let's go ahead and get a GPS track going here to help us keep going on the straight here on this particular spraying job. And we'll knock this out here real quick. Alright, so we are on the final round here, and there's a big chunk up previously that we didn't need to spray. If we look at the precision farming map here for nitrogen, you can see that this area where we were originally getting set up already has too much spray on it, if we're being honest, and so there's definitely a chunk here of the field that isn't needing any spray. And so we've definitely gotten through this field with a lot of material left over, a lot of chemical left over in our tanks, and so I'm now feeling pretty confident that we're going to be able to finish off our other field here with the chemical that we've got in this trailer, or in this sprayer, I should say. And so we're going to continue down here. We're going to do this final pass, and I expect about halfway down the field here, we're going to be done spraying. We won't need to finish out the last several hundred feet of this pass. And as expected, we've hit the part of the field here where We've already over-applied nitrogen from our original testing here. We're going to finish down the path here just to make sure that there aren't any areas that we missed, but I'm pretty sure at this point we are done with our spraying. Perfect. So let's go ahead and get this folded up here real quick, and we're going to jump over to our other cotton field and wrap up our spraying here. That field is going to go even quicker than this one because it is a much smaller field, and it's also very straight. There's none of the odd corners and stuff that we have in this field. Not that this field is that out of whack, but every little bit helps for efficiency. The only difference with field 4 here is that we did get our nitrogen application dialed in before we started planting in this field, and so we don't have the over-application problems that we had in field 5. And so field 4 here, we should end up just where we want to be without some of these spots like we see here on the edge of field 5 where we put down a bit too much nitrogen. And so I'm looking forward to just seeing what kind of yield we get on this cotton. Hopefully it's going to be a fairly profitable crop for us. I think in general cotton seems to be a good profit crop, at least in farm sim, and so getting into harvest here is going to be a lot of fun for us. We are just a couple days away here. It looks like we're on day 3, so we've got to get through 3 more days, so 4 days out from being able to harvest our cotton. We don't really have any other work to do on the farm here after we're done with the spraying, and so I think we're probably going to just advance time. I'm going to look at the calendar here real quick. We do have some fertilizing contracts that we could go and grab if we wanted to. We've done an awful lot of spraying here though, and so I'm not sure how much more we want to do. If we have enough left in the tank here, we might run out and do one fertilizing contract just to use up some of the liquid fertilizer that we've got sitting in the tanks right now. That would help us with the negative 13K we're sitting at for a bank balance right now, and allow us to use up some of our products so we don't just have a lot of products sitting around here as we advance time and go through harvest. I'd rather pay down some of our debt. So we've wrapped up spraying that field. I think we are going to head down here, grab a contract on field 38, and use up the rest of the chemical that we've got in the tanks. That'll help us pay down this $13,000 outstanding balance that we have. I guess the other good thing here with hitting field 38, which should be coming up just ahead of us here on the left, is that if we do need just a touch more fertilizer to finish out the contract, we've got the co-op here over behind these trees in the sell point over here. And so we're going to be able to just run over there and top off our tank just a little bit in order to finish off this field. I think it's this field right across the stream here. Yep, this looks like our field. So we'll jump into this and spray it off real quick. I'm looking to see if there's a field entrance anywhere, but I'm not really seeing one. So we're going to hop in here and just spray this field off real quick. We're probably going to do this one off camera here, as we've done a fair amount of spraying here in the last couple of episodes. And then we'll check in once we're done with this and see if we can jump over to cotton harvest. And just like that, we are finished with our contract here. So we've got just a little bit of spray left here in the tank. We'll take that back up to the farm with us. But let's get out on the road here, heading back to the farm, and we'll call up the farmer and let him know we're all done here. So that's $13,625 in our pocket, which puts us just back into the positive balance. So we didn't really make any progress on our loan per se, but at least we're not carrying a negative balance anymore, so that makes me happy. We're going to get this equipment all back up to the farm here and start moving towards cotton harvest. Having not really gone through the cotton process before, I thought we would take a small pause here in the middle of advancing our time into harvest season to see the cotton in this latest stage here, which has all of the flowers starting to bloom here on the plant. Looking awesome. Can't wait to jump into harvest here. We are finally into early autumn here on Oklahoma, and I'm excited. Our cotton is ready to go. Now, one of the things that I've been talking about with some other real-life farmers is that in real life, you would have had to spray the cotton in order to get it to open up and all that. There is no mechanic for that in Farming Simulator here, so we're going to be foregoing that particular cotton farming practice, but everything's looking good. I'm excited. So let's go grab our cotton picker and see if we can figure out how this is gonna work. Man, these cotton pickers are absolutely humongous. I would not actually probably feel very comfortable driving one of these in real life, I don't think. They're just massive machines. We are going to get this thing all unfolded here, though, just to look at it. It gets so much taller as you fold it up here. And I'm really curious how this is going to work. It does have this hydraulic setup. It looks like we're going to dump out to the left side, most likely, with how this is set up. I'm not entirely sure how this works. We'll have to get it filled up here first before we can sort that out, I suppose. And so we are going to start down here on this end of the field. We do need to take a little bit of this headland off, I think. There's just not a lot of room to turn around, and we don't want to be turning around on that big sloped hill with this large machine. And so we're going to get this thing all fired up here. It looks like we're going to pull these cotton rows right into each of these things, and it's going to get the cotton right off here. Let's see, why is this thing not actually picking our cotton though? Here we go. And so we are off to the races here. We've got cotton going into the back of the picker here. Looking good. Actually, I really like that. It looks kind of like popcorn. But we're filling this thing up pretty quick. We're already at 8%. 9%, and we haven't even made our little tiny headland pass here. And so from a volume perspective, we're gonna get just a ton of cotton here, it looks like. I was kind of wondering if this was gonna be one of those deals where, you know, we have this giant cotton picker and we were gonna make half of the field before we got enough product to dump out here, but that was apparently not something that I should have been too concerned about. So we're gonna take 2 passes off here, should be enough. This thing seems like it turns pretty good, and so we'll get this headland picked, and then we're gonna have to go get some of this other equipment out of the parking lot there. Oop, we're missing our rows here. For cotton, I feel like it'd be pretty important to stay on the rows with how this harvester is designed. And so I'm trying to remember what the community here has been educating me on what everything is called. I think it's called a ball buggy for the essentially what I would call a grain cart here in the row crop terms that we're going to use to dump our cotton into as we start to get full. And so given how much that headland filled up the cotton picker here, we're going to head on up here. I'm really nervous about the slope of this hill with this big cotton picker, but we're gonna go ahead and get started here on this section. It seems to have a problem starting off sometimes. Why are we not picking any cotton? There we go. Apparently there is a concept of the head being raised and lowered, and I hit the head raise button even though I didn't see it actually move. And so that's why we were not picking any cotton. So I am going to go ahead and start a worker off on this section. He's going to keep going here. And while that's going, we're going to come back to the farm and find a tractor. So we're going to grab the 8430 here, and we're going to get this hooked up to the buggy and rush out here to see if we can get this cotton picker unloaded while we're still going the right way down the edge of this field. I think he's probably going to beat me down to the edge of the field here, if I'm being honest. But I was actually kind of hoping that he would get full here. I don't think this is the kind of thing that you would unload on the go. And so when he gets to the end of the field here is probably going to be the right time for us to unload him here anyway. Hopefully I've got enough room to squeeze around the edge here. Oh yeah, we're good. Just going to scrape a couple of those branches, which is okay. I would hate to try and unload something this big on the go. I don't think that that's necessarily very reasonable to expect, so we're going to think about this. We're probably going to do a headland pass on this end of the field just because we don't have necessarily that much room to turn around. And so what I'm going to do is pull this thing up right here along the field. I'm hoping there's enough room here to get up along this buggy and dump some cotton. I'm hoping he's not full yet. He's just confused, yeah, because of the way that the field was planted here. And so the head does go up and down. It's just if you're not paying attention when it does, it's a little easy to miss. And so I'm going to come right up here. We're going to go past our tractor here just a little bit to give us some room to maneuver. And then I'm going to come back here and we're going to turn on our F1 menu and see how we dump this cotton harvester. So hopefully this is the right distance apart. It looks like I have a pipe out option. We're not quite lined up, so I'd like to be lined up just a little bit better. Oh, look at that. It's even got the rubber sheet that comes down here to keep it into the buggy. Yeah, you definitely couldn't unload on the go with this setup. This is not how I expected this to work at all. This conveyor thing is really cool. So that's awesome. I like that a lot. And so that was 70% of the cotton picker, and then I want to jump out here and get into the tractor. That's only 40% of this trailer, and so rough math in my head, it seems like I would be able to dump 2 full cotton picker experiences, 2 full cotton picker loads into the buggy here. And so that's kind of a good thing to keep in my mind as we keep going here. Getting filled up on the cotton picker would probably be a good idea before we stop the whole setup to unload. And since we will have to unload at a stop, I mean, ideally you'd want to be pointing back out with so you could just pull up and unload without a lot of maneuvering, but we'll probably we'll leverage a worker on the harvester here at some point to help us keep going, because we've got a lot of other equipment that we need to get set up here. We've got to figure out where we're going to put the cotton bales. We need to set up that other machine so that we're not in the way of anything on our farm, as we may hang on to those cotton bales for just a little bit before we decide to sell them. We've honestly not been paying much attention to cotton prices thus far. Actually, that would be a good thing for us to kind of take a gander at here real quick. You know, I think it looks like cotton prices don't fluctuate as much as some other things, but definitely seems right towards the end of the year, beginning of the year is when the price is at its peak. And so we're probably going to hang on to this cotton until then. We're way off of our row here. And so we've got to find a good out-of-the-way spot to put these cotton bales in the meantime. I don't know how well cotton is going to weather, especially with seasons. I don't know that you would want to leave it out in the rain. And so that's another big thought for us, is just where we're going to store some of this cotton. So even though we're not full, we did finish up the headland here. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring this right back over to our buggy here. And we're going to get this all dumped out. And then I'm going to start a worker off here, letting this cotton picker to go back up and down the long rows here on his own. I think what we're going to do is actually cut through the middle of the field here and see if we can keep this guy moving. This will give us a little bit more room to move around as we work the different parts of the field. And so we're gonna go ahead and just hit the worker. The worker should do its thing here, no problems. And we're gonna bring this buggy back up to the yard here with us, and I forget what the term was for the what I'll call the baler, where we're going to dump all of this loose cotton into. I'm not quite sure how that machine works exactly yet, and so I'm looking forward to playing around with that. I suspect that what we're gonna do is just dump all this loose cotton into it, and it's gonna compress it into some semblance of a bale, and then leave it on the ground as we pull the machine ahead. So we're gonna hook this thing up to our 4240, I think. This is a nice little tractor, and I don't think it's gonna require a lot of horsepower to operate. We're pretty much not hauling this thing with anything inside of it, so we just need to get it in place and run a PTO here. So this should be relatively straightforward for us. I think the best place for us to set this up is going to be in the grass area here in the back of our farm. We just need to worry about being able to get a semi up there to load it up onto this other trailer at some point. And so I think what we're going to do maybe is we'll put them over here. Kind of liking this area right here a little bit better. From what little research I did, I think they usually, the smaller farmers especially, are just putting them on the side of the field and then having the co-op come and pick them up. And so we're going to kind of do something similar. We're going to put them right here, I think. We got plenty of room. And so we're going to unfold the baler here. Trying to look at how this thing works. Yeah, so when I turned it on, it's going to do the compression. So I'm just going to run it empty here once so that I've got a good idea of how it works. And then once that's done, I think we would be able to pull forward and that bale would come out the back. That's my guess. So hopefully I've left enough space here for us to pull up alongside this baler on the right side. Oh yeah, it looks like we have. I was worried for a second there that we'd gotten too close to these bins, or you know, this it looks like an old style corn crib or something. This tractor is definitely pulling a smidge hard here with this cotton in here. And so I think if I can just get up alongside it here like this, it looks like my cotton picker is full while we're getting this all set up. We turn on our HUD, we do have a pipe out option here, so I should be able to just load this up. So after much struggling, I'm embarrassed to say, I think we forgot to hook our hoses up. So we're gonna go ahead and hook up our hoses and try and dump this cotton into the machine here. Again, this should work this time. There we go. So embarrassing. And so I'm kind of curious how many loads here are going to go into making a single cotton bale. It looks like we're not actually filling this up very fast, so I guess that's encouraging that we're not going to have to deal with a lot of bales. Well, that is, you know, a good chunk of one buggy, and if we jump into the cotton packer here, baler, whatever it's called, we've only got 16% filled so far, so we're gonna put a lot of cotton in there. In fact, I'd be surprised if we don't end up putting most of that field into one bale here. And so we're gonna go ahead and get back over to the field. Our cotton picker is already filled up here. He is facing the wrong way for us, unfortunately, but we're gonna go get him emptied out here, and then hopefully moving forward we're gonna be able to keep up a little bit better now that we understand how all three of these pieces of equipment work. And 6 rows is not a lot of room to squeeze in here with our little buggy here. but we'll hopefully be able to get turned around behind him here and then back up and unload into the trailer. I should have thought about this a little bit better and come from the other side, it would appear. Put ourselves right here behind him, I think, and then I'm gonna jump out and we'll just back the cotton picker up a bit and unload into our buggy. I think this is gonna be the easiest way to accomplish this. One nice thing about this setup is it does unload pretty quickly, so we do have downtime while we're unloading, but it's not significant. We're able to get it dumped and get back moving here pretty quickly. And then we're gonna go ahead and jump back on our rows here. I am gonna fire the worker off once again, and let's go in cab here, take a look. Minor texturing issue up there, but other than that, the cab actually looks pretty decent. Not a ton of detail, but the detail that is there is well done. So I could see myself definitely driving in cab here. We can't quite see the rows. I feel like my camera's just a smidge back. I feel like if I was actually picking cotton, I would want to sit up far enough to see where the cotton's moving into the header here. But other than that, everything is looking good. The stick's even animated. So we're gonna go ahead and let this guy go. He's gonna get turned around here and back into the cotton rows. And I'm gonna go grab our tractor on the buggy here, and we're gonna get turned around again and head back up to the other end of the field here, because that's most likely we're gonna need to dump there on the far end of the field. We should have enough to maybe not fill up this wagon, but get pretty close. So we're coming up here on the end. I think we've got these 3 rows here that we were off by, which is okay. And it looks like our helper automatically detected the buggy here, but we're gonna take over, get this dumped out. We're nearly full here, not quite. Hopefully this will all fit into the buggy. It looks like the buggy's getting full pretty quick here, but I think we calculated we've got enough room for 2 full loads. There we go. Our harvester is all emptied out. So let's go ahead and get this guy going back down the long rows on a worker. He should have enough to get down there and be headed the right way before he fills up, which will work out very convenient for us. And then we've got one more load here to go dump into our cotton picker. So we are at 88% here, which makes sense. So yeah, this holds 2 full loads from the picker, which is awesome. I think from a dumping perspective, it likely doesn't matter which side of the machine we come from here. So we're just gonna pull in on this side because that is what's most convenient for us when we're coming from that direction. And get all of this dumped into here. I'll be curious to see, as we finish dumping this load, how full the cotton packer is here. We're starting to see the formation of a pile of cotton. If I turn the HUD back on, we're at 30%, a little bit more climbing here. Looks like we're gonna top out here at about 38%. We do have 1.6 tons of cotton now. And so if I just take a look here at the price menu, it is a price per ton, I believe. And so at a ton, we're gonna make just shy of $9,000 with the current price per ton. And so looking at how much we've got, we've already pulled $9,000 off of the field. I think we'll see both a higher price, and we've got a lot more cotton to go, as we've only made a couple of passes in the middle of our field there. So I am encouraged that we're going to make a fair amount of money off of our crop this year, and the fact that we're also going to be able to get a wheat crop put into this ground yet this year as well is going to give us even more revenue over the course of early next year. And so this has been a fun experience here so far, getting into harvest for cotton. However, I think that we're running a bit long on today's episode, so we're gonna wrap things up here. And next episode, we're going to be full on into our cotton harvesting, and we'll get our first bale made next episode and see how all of those mechanics work. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, drop a like. It helps the channel out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe for daily farm sim content. That's all for today. Ketter out.
And dump it out. We're not quite as lined up as I'd like to be, so I'm gonna... do something like that. So I'm not quite close enough, maybe? Let's get just a smidge closer here. My cotton is definitely not going into the machine here. We're gonna zip back around here and try the other side, maybe. So we're not getting anything in here. Let me jump back into the cotton baler here. Maybe I need to have this thing turned on in order for it to work, but then when I have it turned on, the machine is going back and forth here, which is going to cause us problems. It looks like our fill point is definitely overlapping here. I can't imagine that I need to have the baler physically on while I'm trying to dump into it here. So we're going to try this one more time here, opening or raising up this buggy and trying to dump into this cart. Do not appear to be doing anything. My dump trigger and my load trigger do seem to be overlapping though, so I would expect to be able to dump this cotton in here. We're going to try and get obnoxiously close here. I would expect this to just be working at this point.
So after much struggling, I'm embarrassed to say, I think we forgot to hook our hoses up.